The important thing for us to see about what I'll call sinful beliefs is that when we walk in these things, this can cripple our understanding of God. This can cripple our proclamation of the gospel. This can make our lives powerless for the gospel. And why? Why? Because we perpetuate ideas about God that are not truly of God. And one of the dangers today is that we're so quick to think that we know God, that we know what is, good doctrine, what is the truth about God, and so few are humble enough to really study the word and let God teach them. Because we have so many programs and so many systems of theology, we have so much going on where we're so quick to want to say that we know what is good and right. And the problem with this is that we are getting in the way of people studying God and His Word and listening to His Holy Spirit for themselves. And so many people think that that's dangerous when that is how every single person is supposed to be taught. We think that people are just going to run off in their own minds about things. And certainly that's a danger. That's a very real danger. But this danger of keeping people in our own boxes of theology and telling people what to think about God and not really expecting people to learn God purely for themselves is just as dangerous, because we need to be taught by God Himself. We need to be convicted by God Himself. And only God can show us His Word in a spiritual depth of where it really applies to us and bring that conviction home. And if we're so convinced that what we're doing is of God, we can go on in our lives and feel so powerless and feel like we're not making effects in all of our attempts for God. And there's a really good chance that that's true, and it's true because we're not really aligned with God. That doesn't mean we're not Christians. It doesn't mean that we don't have faith at all, but God does not just magically propel us to have success when we are contrary to right beliefs of Him. And the danger for us as Christians is that we don't acknowledge that we can have really wrong beliefs about God. And it's most difficult for people to realize that because there is such pressure in the church today to be convinced that our ideas about God, our doctrines, our theologies that we've worked so hard on are the truth. They are Christian. This is what is the truth. And this really hinders people from just purely reading the Word for themselves and being willing to go against those theologies when they're really called to it, being willing to see the doctrines that purely come from God, and they are instead learning the doctrines that come through man, from man.